So there's a couple interesting things from the JFK assassination files release. So he did it. These files have been released, and there's a website, and you could go through all the files. I don't know who's actually going to go through each and every one. I'd like to think that all the JFK aficionados, right, the experts, I'd like to think that all the 200 or so files or pages of files will actually go through. But Gary Underhill. So there's a few interesting things right off the top, right? Gary Underhill. The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at the home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination, he confided. He was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Gary Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it suicide. J. Garrett Underhill had been an intelligence agent during World War II and was a recognized authority on limited warfare, small arms, and da-da-da-da-da. He knew people in the Pentagon, and so Gary Underhill. So let's take a look at this John Garrett Underhill Jr., right? And then it says subject Ramparts, John Garrett Underhill Jr., then also mentions Samuel George Cummings, and then Interarmco. And then this is 1967, right? So this is 4 years after Kennedy had been assassinated. Now here's another interesting little tidbit. There's some Israeli intelligence. They mention Israeli intelligence, but not here. Here this is Sergyj, Sergyj, Cesar Nanohab or Nanoha. Kisor Nanoha. So Sergyj, whatever. To the Russian embassy of the USSR. So this looks like it's a Russian, right? That sounds like a Russian name. Looks like a Russian name. Sergyj, Sinorno, oh, goodness, goddamn. Zorno. We'll just call him Zorno. So, Sergyj Zorno. Dear Sir, Mr. Wasilev Consul gave me the order to transmit this information to the U.S. government August 9th, 1963. So the order to transfer this knowledge was before he was shot, so this is interesting, in Sofia, Bulgaria. Mr. Wasilev, consul of the Embassy of USSR, gave me this information about Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald on August 14th, 1963. Mrs. Bessara Asanova, girlfriend of the Russian consul, came to my room and repeated that Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald is an assassin. He would kill President Kennedy. On August 15th, 1963, in Sofia, Bulgaria, at the airport in an embassy car, I told to Mr. Blackshear, American vice consul, that Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald is an assassin. He has a weapon or ordered one. Mr. Blackshire said it seems like he will kill someone. I said that Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald is preparing to kill the President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. Mr. Blackshire said, where will it happen? I said, they, right wing, will invite the President, criticize him in the newspaper, then kill him. I said, they, the right wing will invite the President, criticize him in the newspaper, then kill him. Mr. Blackshire told me he will give the telegram to the Department of State and gave me the address where to report at 9 a.m. on August 19th, 1963 in Washington, D.C. I went to see a Mr. Klippingan, director of the Special Counselor Service Department of State at 1901 Pennsylvania Avenue, 11th floor. I told the director that I have information about President Kennedy. Director said, do not mention the name of President Kennedy, only respond to the questions. The director said, tell us what will happen to Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald. Then I said, Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald will be killed after kill Kennedy. He will be killed after he kills Kennedy. I said, I will take the truth drug to tell the truth. Director tells us who else gets killed in this country. I said, as I heard that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will be killed. Who will kill Dr. King Jr., Negro leader? I said a man who is in prison at this time. That's interesting. Why would he know Mr. James Earl Ray was in prison at that time? How would he know? You know, I mean, just to know both of those assassinations. 68 is when Martin Luther King gets killed. I said I will take the truth drug to, let's see. Director asked where assassination will happen. I said in Dallas, Texas. Director said if someone gave this information here, I would expel the man. Director did call on FBI agents after the FBI used anesthesia gas to freeze me, to drug me, to drug me, to keep amnesia. I told Director, Department of State, that Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald has a weapon. Go see him. Director told me that you too can have a weapon. So what if Oswald's got a weapon? Sincerely, Sir Gidge Casorno, U.S. passport, da-da-da-da-da. So that's an interesting little letter, right? Who is this guy? What the hell is this even about? There was some information about the Israeli government, the intelligence service, and I'm not saying that it actually says that they did it, just that it does mention in a lot of these memos, right, that the Israeli intelligence was mentioned. In what context were they just talking to them? They were just mentioned, right? So we'll just try to read this one here, right? There's like 4 of them, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So, you know, they got Israeli matters, Israeli intelligence. And let's just try to read one of them, right? In taking up such a matter with the Angleton last week, it was determined that he objected to attributing information which he had furnished to confidential informant T2, an agency of the government which conducts personnel and intelligence investigations. He pointed out that by describing T2 as an agency of the government which conducts personnel and intelligence investigations, the Bureau was revealing to outside agencies that the material did in fact come from another government agent, since the material related to an individual who now resides in Israel. Angleton stated that in his opinion, recipient agencies could logically conclude that the information had originated with the CIA, since such an individual would be under CIA jurisdiction insofar as investigations abroad are concerned. So there you go. That's something about Israel, right? That doesn't mean anything that Israel had anything to do with it, but just some of these documents. And then there's another actually little clip of this guy. This guy was sitting here just kind of saying that he had known, or he did it. The guy, I think I didn't post it. Damn it. The guy's name, actually I could just type in his name. James Files. So there's actually this guy that's sitting there just claiming that he did it, and that's so incredible to me. And the way he talks, it almost, you know, I don't want to say it sounds honest, but he sounds unique enough that either he come up with this incredible elaborate story, which makes it sound like he didn't read any of the damn files, he says. And even though he didn't read any of the damn files, he's got this incredible story where he just kind of says, you know, what he thinks had happened. Let's see here. The mob did it. The story of James Files and Chelsea Holt killing JFK. Yeah, that's the man's face. I don't see the clip. The clip isn't coming straight up. But this is the man's face right here. This guy right here, I don't even know where he's at talking about this, but he's basically just, you know, he described how he pointed his rifle, shot him right behind the temple. He said that he was counting, he was in the grassy knoll. He said that he was coming down the road, and then he thought some other guy was shooting at him, so he thought that some other person was up in the building, was shooting at him, and then he wasn't counting 1, 2, 3, 4 shots. He was counting miss, because they wanted a headshot. And then he's the one that says that he killed Kennedy. He says it pretty nonchalantly, but it's just an interesting and unique perspective, you know? It's an interesting and unique perspective, because if he didn't do it, I mean, what a fucking crazy person, right? Sitting there just saying that he fucking did. But it kind of tells you, you know, kind of shows you this, how little information we kind of know about the whole damn thing, huh?
James, where were you on November 22nd, 1963?
On November 22nd, 1963, I was in Dealey Plaza. I arrived at Dealey Plaza shortly before 10 a.m. that morning.
What was your reason for being there?
My reason for being there at that point was to look the area over, and I had driven a vehicle down there, and I had taken several weapons to Dallas, Texas.
For what purpose did you do this?
I did this for the sole purpose for the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Who instructed you to do this, James? Tell me the story.
Back,
your own words.
The story started back, roughly 6 months prior to that, when Mr. Nicoletti contacted me one evening, and I had met with him, and he instructed me that we were going to do a friend of mine, and it was more like a personal joke because I had never liked John F. Kennedy since the Chandler's Bay affair, which is known as the Bay of Pigs.
Were you at the Bay of Pigs, Jim?
No, I was not at the Bay of Pigs, but I had helped train several of the operatives that were involved in the Bay of Pigs. But
when you say help train them, what do you mean?
I have trained them on what we called it Gator Ridge back then. Some people refer to it as No Name Key. Some people call it Assassin Ridge. It was in the Everglades down there in Florida. And we worked solely with the Cubans at that time. We'd supplied them with weapons. And the weapons had come basically from the government, from the CIA. They had been heavily involved in that. After a couple of the parking questions, but I'm coming for it only because his bodyguard watching. He was very well spoken, and so when you wave that banner, we never talked about it thereafter. It was never brought up again. Posing as Secret Service agents, and that's how I stand, and that is how.
What's your really inner feelings about all of this, Jim, as a person, as a human being?
As a person, as a human being, I just want everybody to forget about me, put it all behind me.
So that wasn't the clip that I saw. The clip that I saw, he just describes what he saw and what he was thinking about. And he was very articulate, and I don't know. It seemed believable. It makes me think of, there's this book called Framed, and people get in their heads that it's either this person or that person, and then somebody just comes right up and says, no, it's actually, a guy confesses. It's like they don't want to believe it because it's just too shocking to think that somebody would just confess to something that somebody's been, people have been trying to figure out for such a long time. So, let's see, screen recorder, 12 minutes in. I'll save us for another one, but I got 3 little letters here. They don't really say anything, but here's the files, right? The archives.gov research, and then there's 219 pages total, right, with about 10 things each, and so I'm thinking it would be easy just to click on 219 and go back, or 1, 2, 3, or 4, but who would get in the middle, and hell, maybe 130s and 140s and 50s would probably be. I didn't think that people would look through these files. I was just going to kind of do my part and sort of scroll through some of them, see if there's anything that was interesting. I just looked at these 3, and they weren't interesting. Hidalgo Balms Jr. or something. Calvin W. Hicks, La Paz, Bolivia. I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at, really. Just it says that it's secret, and it seems incredible that this fucking document was kept from us for goddamn motherfucking 60 or 70 years. Why did Tom Cotton not want this released, Something about Paul Palmieri. Palmieri, is that the same Palmieri here? Hidalgo. No, see, I'm already confusing the names. So, Paul Mieri is in exile from Guatemala. White House has a memorandum. And then are these names of other CIA guys? Is that what they were trying to... Oh, we can't. This is secret. There's got too many names of the CIA agents on there. And that does seem insane. Why would you ever write the CIA agents, their name down? But maybe not. Information received from, looks like Rimsey Moore, 39980. Yeah, just use their numbers. Why use their Viola June Cobb, Harry E. Cole, or all these fucking CIA agents? So that's probably why that file was redacted, right? Said he was going to publish a book in Mexico City, and my 7 years with the CIA, and that's it. My 7 years with the CIA. It said he was terminated as a CIA agent in 1964, so maybe that has something to do with the JFK, files. This is Federico Palmieri. Guillermo. So it's like, why was this redacted for 60, 70 fucking years? Why did you not need for us to fucking know about this? He worked as a CIA agent for Roger Russ. Well, Roger Russ, huh? Oh shit, that says, and then Russ cannot be identified in the OS files. So who the fuck is Roger Russ, you know? But this is long enough. We'll take a look at some other stuff in the future.